Right now, we're going to go back somewhat to this Brian Flores situation because this is a story that's not going away. This isn't
Right.
a one-time story. You talk about one day and then it fades away. He is suing the NFL alleging racism. And one of the teams in the suit, Rob, is three of them. He is essentially the whole league.
Right,
But
but
he
three
names the
individual
Giants,
teams, right.
Giants for interviewing him when they had no intention of hiring him, and they already made up their mind to hiring Brian Dable. Denver, and who's the other team that's named? Obviously Miami. And so Tiki Barber, who of course had a tremendous career with the Giants, was a great running back, and now he's in our business, Rob.
Right. They're on the Fan in New York, him and Brandon Tierney, who I used to work with, Chris, at ESPN Radio in New York. Brandon and I had a short-lived radio show
in
New York.
And they were talking about, obviously, the situation, and Tiki Barber really stood up for the Giants and the Mara family, the owners, and got emotional about it. Here he is.
I know them intimately. So when I say I don't believe they're racist, it's because I know they're not. And yeah, they don't have the right head coach, the black head coach, even though there's black players. They don't have a black general manager or a black coordinator. I know they're not a racist organization. And so for Dwayne to try to boil me into saying something that's not true, it's frustrating because you don't know my truth. And you don't know my interactions with this Giants organization.
All right, Rob.
Chris, I'm going to say this, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm just going to I'm going to go for this. Shame on Tiki Barber. Shame on Tiki Barber. I'm glad you got so passionate and so worked up about defending the Maras. And whether or not, I'm not here to call them racist, Chris, or whatever you want to say. But it's been 100 years in this league of unfair and disgraceful hiring practices. Even so bad that they had to implement a rule called the Rooney Rule, which would force white owners to even interview black people. To interview them, Chris, you know why?
Right, not to hire them.
Not to hire them, to interview them because coaching cycles went on and on and on, and people were hired, and guess what? No black people were even interviewed. I'm glad you're so emotional for the Maras. I wish you were that emotional for the plight of the black coaches. But Brian Flores doesn't matter to you. Neither does Eric Bieniemy or Byron Leftwich. Okay? What you got to do is go out of your way to talk about how they treat you. Smokescreen the story. Steal the story. Be mad because people aren't happy about the Giants' hiring practices. That's right. Protect that suite and the party invite and the Christmas party, Chris, and the giveaways and all that. Tiki doesn't care. You know why? He has a comfy, cozy media job. Chris, he's not in the coaching ranks. He don't need a gig. Did he think for 1 minute about that? Brian Flores gave up his coaching career at 41. You're not going to take that guy seriously? Chris, it wasn't on his way out at 65 where he drops a bomb and walks out knowing he's never going to coach again? Right. Think about that.
Right.
That's where you should be. And this league, I would have loved. I didn't hear the whole show. I doubt Tiki Barber talked about guy after guy, Chris, where black coaches are overlooked. They got better resumes, more experience, probably played in the league, and these young white guys who don't have any of their experience or resume gets hired over and over. The reason we're here, and what I mean here, this lawsuit and how people feel, is because of former players and guys like Tiki Barber. They're enablers. Every time something comes up, Chris, they run to protect those guys, the offenders. Oh, they're a good guy. I don't know what you're talking about. No, it's their track record we're talking about, not them personally and how you feel about them or how they treated you. That's what we got, Chris, during the Black Lives Matter. It's about the flag. It's about the flag. Let's throw the smoke screen. Let's get people worked up. It's about the flag. It was never about the flag. And it's not about how they treat you, Tiki Barber. You got it wrong. Stick to the effing topic at hand. It's about we got 8 coaches or so been hired already this year. No black coaches.
Raji? How many is it now?
7 or 8.
No, I mean, how many coaches have been hired? Not
Something
black,
like that.
period. 6 now? 6, okay, and none
So
black.
6, and there's
6.
3 left.
Right.
And if Tiki has to go to bat, Chris, and say they're not racist, oh, it must be because of the way they treated him. And here's my other problem. I'm sorry. I get former athletes, what they bring to the table. But stop listening to these guys when it comes time to defend their school, their former coaches, their owners, or whatever. Because these guys are in bed with them, okay? And it's the same people who told us, oh, don't blame Joe Paterno. You know what? Joe Paterno's a great football coach, Chris. Remember that? But Bo Schembechler, don't soil his name. Michigan just paid out $500 million.
Right.
Bobby Knight, he drafted me. Bobby Knight's the greatest guy I ever met. And here's my other part. Donald Sterling, Chris, he can't be racist. He owns an NBA team and he pays black guys millions of dollars. Right. Did you hear the tape? We heard the tape. Just because somebody's paying black people or employ black people doesn't mean that they're not racist or they don't look at or value black people the same way in positions of power. The reason that the NFL is 70% black is because those are the best available players. You know why the NHL is 95% black? It's not because the owners are white or racist, Chris. The white owners are racist. It's because those are the best available players to play hockey. All right? That's my last point. We got to stop doing this. We got to stop making excuses when we're talking about a track record. The NFL has a 100-year track record. Stop making excuses. Talk about the issue at hand, Tiki. Why? Why haven't they hired a black coach? Eric Bieniemy has been dying for a job for 3 years. Why? That's what we want to talk about, not whether or not you like somebody because they drafted you or you played on the team or they send you a Christmas card or invite you into their suite. Just because they treat you nicely doesn't mean that they treat everybody else the same way or they deal with people the same way. What the Giants did was a fraud, a sham, and they should be raked over the coals for making Brian Flores perform for a dog and pony show, Chris, when they already had a coach. That's why they should be raked over the coals.
Well said. Well said, Rob. The first thing I didn't like about what Tiki said is the way he kept emphasizing the word black.
Right.
They don't have a black coach. They don't have a black GM. They don't have a black, like what? Like you making light of this? Like you said, because, you know, that's ridiculous. And here's the thing that Tiki doesn't understand. This is not about the Maras personally.
Right.
You know what, I don't know them. I never met them. I'm sure they're nice to black people. Not just Tiki Barber. And they probably don't have much personal, if any, personal prejudice toward black people. right? They probably treat them fine. But this ain't about personal relationships. When we talk racism, it's not about personal relationships. That's what certainly with me.
Absolutely.
I don't care. Listen to me and listen to me good. I don't care if a white person does not like me. I don't care if they don't like me because I'm black. I don't care. You ain't got that much power over me. What I care about is when you have the power in society or in a company to hinder my quality of life because I'm black or other black people's quality of life. That's what I care about. Care if you don't like me because you black. Who are you? You're not that important that I got to feel that way. It's not going to make me feel bad. That's your loss. But when you have the power to hold me back or hold people like me back, that's the problem. And John Mara, while they may not be racist personally in terms of relationships, they are a part of a system that has systematically held back black people when it comes to coaching and being in front office positions. And they haven't done anything about it. They had a black GM once, but they have, for the most part, they haven't done anything about it. And that's what people are talking about. It's not about John Mara being a nice guy. He probably is. Probably nice to whites, blacks, all types of people. It's about the system, and he's part of it. And he has the power. He's in a position where he can affect change. And I hate Rob now. I hate this situation now for Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, and all the other qualified black coordinators out there now, because it's almost like when one of them does get hired, it's going to feel like, right. And even if it's not, that's how it's going to appear and feel like. And so that's what we're talking about. And for Tiki Barber to act like it's just about liking people and socializing with people. I got news for you. Blacks and whites socialized, had sex, did all types of junk during slavery. The little kids were growing up together for a little while, being friends. The little slave owner's child with the little slave children. And they were friends as little kids. But then as they got older, there was a power dynamic. And the little friend you had years ago was now your owner. That's what we're talking about. I know this isn't slavery, but the power dynamic. Racism is about power, capital, and resources. It's not about liking each other. Yeah, of course, we want to like each other, have relationships, but it's about power.
That's why I was so offended by that, Chris, because it's just not about somebody personally or how you get treated. There's a bigger story there. And to reduce it to, I know them. I've known them for 25 years, and I'm getting emotional, and I'm going to break down. Because how could you say that about the Maras? Really?